raise funds, put back into the community.
Come
on, support us. We need your love. We also
platter for your flight.
With us, go to Rainier Avenue Radio.world, to the website, Facebook, Instagram, and God is. And as God is got a website, we need your help, community. So come on out and get your free food each and every Saturday it is. And so we asking for donation, whatever you feel to give from your heart to the mind. And as we're doing it right here for you, go to our website and touch love and give back. And so come on by 810 23rd Avenue, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, your community radio station and inspiration of all the things we do in your community.
Welcome to the Fitness Corner. I'm your host, Mark Bryant, and you're going to get a whole total body workout on my show, starting off with a warm-up, aerobics, strength training, cool down, and stretching every Friday from 11:30 to 12 right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. I'm Granville Emerson along with my partner, Ronald Pepe Bean. And we host the show Lidline Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, where we talk about football, basketball, local sports, national sports, Seahawks, UW, Seattle U Redhawks, Garfield Bulldogs, all that and more right here on Lidline Sports on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Rainier Avenue Radio presents All Music, All Day Saturday. Music, All Day Saturday.
This is Edwin Bailey, Bulldog Blue.
Jazz from the Cabinets.
That's right. It's time once again for Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy.
Start Time.
Thanks for tuning in. My name is Paul Pierce. This is Start Time.
Saturdays, all music, all day. Reggae Hour, K-Fox Night.
You looking for the perfect beat? Yeah, it's the beat of the box.
Fresh Juice with D-Money in the group.
Myself to the money.
Nice Size Patrol.
Taylor Hart.
This is Spencia, the Northwest Rap Gang.
DJ Medina. Chad Cheddar. Northwest Rat Gang.
Sergio LaCour.
It's Sergio's Love Lines with Sergio LaCour. Go to the phone line. Tell her who we
Sea Monster Radio. Mo Jams is your jam.
We're live. Welcome to Mo Jam Mondays. This is KZ of KZ Music Media. Caller Goddess for Mo Jam Mondays.
Just my opinion. God is inspiration. Music. All day and all night. Saturdays on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Welcome to Real Estate Money, half-hour program on Radio.world, designed to help you whether you're a buyer, seller, investor, or renter in real estate. Your hosts are two local professionals who will escort you on your journey. Violeta Strash, who has years of media advertising and marketing experience, and brings this extensive knowledge to John L. Scott Real Estate and all our clients. And Tina Lombard, who is a mortgage loan originator with Guaranteed Rate Affinity, with over 28 years of experience. And now here's Violeta and Tina.
Hi, Tina.
Everyone. How are you?
What's going on? Oh, there
you are. Oh, you have a pumpkin patch.
I do. It's that time of year, right?
It sure is.
Halloween this weekend.
Yes. So welcome everybody to the show. I am one of your hosts, Tina Lombard, along with
Violeta Strash.
Yes. So today, yes, we're going to be talking about refinancing today. And what else are we talking about today, V?
We are going to have some horror stories in our industry, things that have happened that could scare anybody. Real estate. And I know, Tina, you've been in the business a long time, so maybe you have a bunch of horror stories too.
I have a lot of horror stories.
You have a lot.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I don't have that many. I'm pretty new at this gig.
Yes. Before we get going, please pay attention to the phone numbers that we have underneath our names. Give us a call anytime you feel like you want a question, either after the show or during the show. During the show, you can call us at 206-717-4490. Again, that's 206-717-4490. But if you want to call us afterwards, please do pay attention to our names and numbers underneath our pictures here. We'd love to help you. At the start of every show, we go ahead and talk about the market update. So, Violeta, please tell us what's going on.
Hey, here we go. Market updates from last week to this week. We're looking at King County, first of all, single-family residences. We have 380 active listings 380. That's nothing.
That's right.
Sold 77 of those for an average price of $1,126,000. And last year was things were selling for $1,031,000 average price per home, and that's a 9% increase. Everyone. For days on the market, things are kind of still in the low number of days, from 29 last year down to 19 days on the market before homes are sold. For square footage, for those of you who want to build a home, remodel, we are looking at $393 a square foot to remodel or build last year. This year, it's $460 a square foot. That's 17% increase. And, I hear materials are still really slow getting to folks, and the builders are, and lumber yards are raising their prices, not as much as they used to this summer, but definitely still happening. And now we move on to Pierce County. We had 251 homes are active right now. 44 have sold in the past week. $549,000 average price on those sales, and $541,000 was last year's average price. It's just a 1% increase. And year to year, days on the market last year was 30, this year 17, so 13 days, almost 2 weeks difference. And dollar per square foot, $226 last year versus $272 a square foot.
Wow.
20%. I know Tina talked about getting those done, getting financing for stuff like that in a HELOC or, right, just refinancing. And then lastly, we have Snohomish County, our third biggest county here. We have 152 homes on the market, 41 have sold, an average price of $933,000. Last year was $708,000 for a 32% increase. And year to year, days on the market, 27 days on the market last year. Now it's only 15 days. That's a 12-day difference year to year. And the dollar per square foot last year was $276 a square foot versus $336 this year. That's 22%. So go build a house, go buy a house. It's a good time. There are folks hunkering down for the winter. So there may be deals out there for you buyers who are still looking to buy.
Right. So, I mean, like we keep saying, we've been doing this show for over a year and a half now, almost 2 years. And it's always been a common underlying motive is, buy a house. I mean, it's been going up. It's always going up, land is always where you want to invest. So what we're saying here, we're just reconfirming the square footage, the price is going up every year. They're really in where we're at in King County and Washington State, and here also in Colorado, some of the two hottest markets in the United States. So there's other parts of the country where that may not be the truth. That may not be the story. You buy houses there and they'll depreciate or stay flat. But Washington State, Colorado, it's been fairly consistent. It's been moving up.
There was this young guy who started when he was 19, lived at home. His mom was a broker. This is a story from when we had our Tom Ferry seminar a couple of weeks ago. This young man talking about investing. He had some, spare change. He asked his mom what he should do at the age of 19. She goes, let's buy yourself a little house. And that one house is now hundreds of homes later. He's only in his 30s or maybe even his late 20s. And he's got a ton of investment property. It's amazing. And he makes, as you can imagine, a lot of money doing that.
Oh yeah, because it's a source of income, And then when you just sell your property, you gain on the property, the value of the property. He probably bought some homes at like $89,000, and now they're worth $450,000, $500,000.
Yeah.
So imagine those bank accounts.
Yeah, they become rental income, and I think he had somewhere around 600 doors
Oh,
to his
yeah.
name.
See, yeah.
I wonder if he's single. I don't know.
Okay,
Tina?
yeah. So I mean, it happens. I mean, that's a real good extreme, but there are some people, I'm doing a loan for a lady right now. She's, I think, maybe 43, 44, somewhere around there. She bought her house a long time ago. Well, she bought her house 13 years ago, and it's appreciated over $370,000. And I have girlfriends who are in their 50s and they haven't bought a house yet. They don't, and their rent is basically the same. And they don't have all that. So a lot of people don't have retirement, but they do have equity in their house.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a very good plan. You don't have to be too young to do that. I mean, some people say, if you're 21, put 10 cents a day away and you'll be a billionaire by the time you're 40, and then some people are in their late 50s or late 40s and they don't have any retirement. It seems like such a daunting task. But if you buy property, that's a good alternative to retirement. Of course, you want to talk to your financial provider, financial professional for that. But yes, it is a very good investment. Yes.
Well, if you have a home, is now a good time to refinance, Tina?
Yes.
Why?
Yes, indeed. Now, days gone by, they used to say that your interest rate had to be 2 points below what you had to make it worth your while. So back in the day, V, when rates were 12%, and they went down to 10%. Oh, yeah, let's go. When rates were 8% and they went down to 6%, it's time to go. And so now there's some people now, they're at 3.75. They're like, what's the use of refinancing? Well, it really depends, because back in those days, the balances were so much lower. They were maybe $30,000, $40,000. So you really did need a big bump or a big change in the interest rate. But now, because people have balances of 300, 400, 500, 800,000, even if you're going from 4.1 down to 3.25, it's a major difference. A lot of times people can be at maybe, they've got 21 years remaining and their interest rate is at 5.5%. And then we'll turn around, we'll refinance them to a lower rate and a lower payment and keep the same 20 years remaining. Or sometimes we'll toss the amortization back to 30 years at 3.1 and bring their payments way down so they can have some relief, some mortgage relief.
Yep.
So is it a good time to refinance? Well, basically the rates are extremely low. So yeah, if you have a rate that's over 4 or in the 5s, if you're in the 5s and you plan to stay in your house more than a year or 2 years, you need to reach out and call somebody. And you'd be surprised. I have some people right now refinancing and they're at 6.3 and 5.7. Yeah. Then some little old lady at church was like, baby, what you got? You got a 5 point what? Nah, you need to talk to Tina. So literally. So, in prayer group, what's your interest rate? And people are like, oh, my interest rate is 6.3, whatever. There are people out there, and don't be embarrassed. Don't let embarrassment hide you. If you have a rate that is in the high 4s or 5s, you really need to talk to a mortgage loan officer to see what you can do to optimize the economy, in the days in which we're living. And talk to somebody, because some people, they want to lower their rate, so they pay less money. Some people are financially strapped because of COVID, and their rates may be 3.5 or something, but maybe they have 18 years or 15 years remaining. But if they toss their amortization back up to 30 years, they'll have some payment relief. The payment can go down like maybe $200 or $300 a month. Oh. So that question that you asked, is it a good time to refinance? In general, the rates are low, but also your particular situation is going to dictate whether it's good or not. But right now, more than any time in history, the rates are so ridiculously low. If you were going to ever ask if this is a good time to refinance, this would be the time. So V, I don't know if I've told you this before, but I have some people who call me every 2-3 years and they just do a fitness check. Just do a fitness check. Huh. Just go to the phone. I mean, even, I'd love for you to call me to refinance. But if you have a company that you're working with, you look at your mortgage statement and call up the 1-800 number on your mortgage statement and say, hey, should I refinance? And ask your mortgage lender, should I refinance? Yeah. A lot of times they're not going to volunteer that information because they've got you with 6.2 and they're not trying to alert you to 2.7. So sometimes you have to take that initiative. So, if you start getting a lot of things in the mail that say, hey, we can refinance. Hey, we can refinance. It's because a lot of lenders go out there and they do these mass data purchases where they find out everybody who's got a rate of 6% or above, 5% or above, or they do a massive search of anybody who is in range to refinance or who can benefit from refinance. So when you go out, V, let's say you had a house like 5 years ago and you locked it at like 5.2.
Yes.
Well, title companies and there's tracking companies out there, and they know everybody and every rate that has been purchased on that house. They know what rate that house was bought with. So you're going to get solicitation, you know? So if you start getting a lot of things in the mail saying, hey, we can refinance, that's kind of a red flag too, or a clue to you. You know, perfect strangers know that you should be refinancing. So it's a good indication to you, hey, you know, maybe somebody knows something I don't. So go ahead and try to refinance. At the end of the year is also a very good time, V, because, you know, there's a lot of things you can write off on your taxes when it comes to refinances.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm not a tax accountant by no means or anything like that. But so you need to talk to your accountant or your professional, your tax professional. But there's different things like maybe property taxes, prepaid interest, points. There's different things on your settlement statement when you close a loan that may or may not be able to be written off on your taxes. And if you are going to refinance, it's nice to do it this year so that you can gain those tax benefits this year when you report your taxes instead of waiting until after January 1st. Then you have to wait a whole year before you can claim those taxes. So usually at this time, I get a lot of people, it's the mad rush. They're like, Tina, can we refinance? Can I close by December? Can I close by November? That way I miss my November payment or I miss my January payment. Plus I can write off the taxes. So this is a very good time of the year. When you do refinance, you skip a payment. Or when you do a mortgage, you usually skip a payment. So around Christmas time is a very good time for people to choose to skip a payment. So there are a lot of advantages. I'm not saying refinance your home so you can skip a payment, but if you were thinking about refinancing and you're kind of sitting on the ledge, now would be the time to, either pull the trigger or something, right? Figure it out really quickly because this may be a very good time to move.
Yeah, and get those tax benefits.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. We're going on a break, and then we've got some stories to tell you.
Tune in to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3 here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Join your hosts Violeta Strash with John L. Scott Kent North and Tina Lombard with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. They'll help you navigate the waters of our volatile real estate market and offer you some guidance on how to make your hard-earned money work to make your dreams come true. Learn about current trends, get tips on financial matters, and have fun, interactive discussions about your home inside and out. That's Real Estate and Money.
Perfect.
Yes, excellent.
Daniel, that's great. Thank you. Sound effects.
Sounds just like us, Daniel.
Okay. So, in our industry, there's a lot of weird things that happen, just like in any other business. And we want to share some fun, crazy horror stories that we've come across or we know of. And Tina, you've been in this for a long time. So why don't you start? And I've got a couple myself to tell you.
Okay. So when we say horror stories, what do we mean by that? We mean by things that are absolutely scary. Absolutely. My gosh, why did this happen? You can't sleep at night. So a lot of times in the transaction, when something goes south and we can't close a loan and it gets really dicey at the end, it is you can't sleep. Loan officers can't sleep, realtors can't sleep, what have you. So I've had a lot of people in the past I've done loans for, right before closing, the agent or somebody recommends the client to recheck their credit because if their credit is higher, maybe they can get a better rate. So right before we check their credit, right before we close, like a day before we close, and we find out the person bought a new car, or we find out that when they pulled credit on their very own, a car foreclosure all of a sudden magically popped up for $5,000 or $6,000 on their credit report, and we couldn't do the loan, or we had to get it paid really quickly. Wow. So that's a horror story. So that's happened to me several times, and a lot of times that horror can be avoided if if the client just tells the whole truth up front, and we can deal with it. But yes.
Oh, boy.
So what do you have?
Okay, this was actually submitted by Elsie, our buddy Elsie from Keller Williams. She had floor time where random calls come into the office, and if you're scheduled to do floor time, then you get one of those calls. And she got one from a woman who said she's looking for a townhouse in Bellevue. Tina went and never really figured out who this person was, just said, okay, let's meet there. She met this person at the address of the townhouse they're looking at. And she's never met this person. At that time, there was no showing time where you actually schedule online a viewing of the home. So she went back to her office and called the owners. They happened to be there having dinner. And this is the only time this lady said that she was going to be able to go. So, okay, fine. If you don't mind us having dinner while you're prepping for dinner while you're here. And I go, no, we'll be really quick. And it's the only time that the buyer can go in. And she meets this lady outside of the home. And she's in scrubs or just looking really odd, white, monochromatic look, and she says she actually looked like she came from a mental institution.
Oh, yeah.
She was kind of wacky. And they went in, looked around really quick, and she really, really wanted to go down to the basement, a dark basement. And Elsie's like, oh, yeah, you go first. I'll follow you. Because they were looking at the family preparing dinner with knives in their hands. And then Elsie freaked herself out and was thinking all these weird things. And she kept seeming to be insane. So anyway, they left, and the lady says, can you take me back to my car where I parked? And she did all that, but just really nervous at that point because she quickly went through every room, but really wanted to go down to the garage and a dark garage. And so, they parted ways. She didn't get, the lady said she'd just call her back when she's ready. And she never got a call back. Elsie called the sellers and apologized for the woman's demeanor and just how strange that whole tour was.
Oh, so my goodness.
Yeah, that was one. And so make note that always try to screen your clients before you bring them into a home because you never know what happens inside that home.
No, I'm glad you told me this. Was funny because maybe about 10, 11 years ago, maybe longer than that, I went to a client's house. And back in the day, we'd go to a client's house and sign papers. And this is a time where the husband that was signing actually was in bed. He actually could not get up. And the wife was like, well, just come down. I'll have him sign papers. Come to my house. I get to the house. I walk in, and this is an elderly lady. The whole house is surrounded with dolls. Dolls as big as me, dolls half my size. They're all upstairs, going up the stairs, going down the stairs, the whole house, and they're all looking at me. They're all looking there. They're not looking in that direction, not looking that direction. They're just all looking at me, and I'm like,
oh
okay.
God.
She goes, well, he's downstairs in the basement. I was like, oh, of course he is. So I go downstairs, and the gentleman can hardly talk. He can hardly talk. I'm like, I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't know if he's inept enough to do this. He was signing everything with X's. I'm like, I don't know. If he spells SOS, I'm out of here, right? Anyway, so I left, but that was really, really scary because every inch of that house was covered with dolls. All Annabelle dolls. That was crazy. Yeah. So I don't go to people's houses anymore.
Yeah, good. One of my clients and I almost didn't go inside this home. Luckily, it was during the day and it was sunny out, and things could look creepier at night, right? And we thought, okay, the yard looks really bad. All these kids' toys everywhere, and the front porch was sagging. It looked like a haunted house. It really did. And she's the one that picked out this house for us to go to. And I'm going, well, to peek inside, and I'll stand guard because who knows what's in there. And so she went in, came right back out, and she goes, "There's spider webs and spiders on the floor, and I don't want to go look any further than that." So off we went, and then so since after that, we'd go around, and she'd say, creepiness. I'm not going down to the basement, or I'm not going into the attic. And so we, while it looks good on the outside, even the MLS pictures, it could be totally different on the inside. And there are little crannies that, no, you don't want to open that because it's dark in there, and I don't know if it's a crawl space or, what's lurking under there, dead bodies. Who knows?
I know it's tough because here in Colorado, there's a lot of houses that were built over Indian grounds. Same thing in Washington State.
Yeah.
Same thing in Washington State. A lot of the bumps and creeks that go, bump in the night or whatever, it's because they're over ancient grounds. And so when you're buying a house, when you first newly get into a house, you start hearing things. I've had a lot of that happen to my clients, including myself. So a lot of times after you buy a house, you get in and you're finally alone in the house. There are some things that go bump in the night, and if you do a history search of your house, you find out that they're built. I was by Hibelos in Federal Way, and that was a lot of ancient grounds over there. I didn't realize that after I bought the house and we saw things running around. So a lot of times I suggest people have a house blessing for sure. Cleanse that house before you start moving stuff in.
Yeah.
Because you don't know.
and there is a clause in the contracts where you have a neighborhood review. So you can actually, check that box. And if you as the buyer, you have to do this on your own. Go talk to the neighbors. Like we mentioned before, ask them if they know if anybody's ever been killed next door.
It's crazy, but it's true.
People die, right? Or is there a pedophile or somebody on the block?
There's something going on. Yes. Neighbors are like sometimes the best resource.
Yeah, back out of your deal quickly.
Yes, especially if you got Miss Kravitz. Can you back out of a deal?
Yeah, if you check that box for neighborhood review and you say, "Oh no," it could be anything. You could say, "There's like 10 million cars next door. I don't want that. I don't want to see that." Or just like, "Oh, I didn't know the cemetery was right here next door or across the street." It didn't show that in the pictures.
So that's in your purchase and sale before you close the loan?
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. And then not so creepy things. One I have, it's like, people are doing electronic communications now, and people are texting back and forth. And what if you're one that types really fast, but you don't spell check? You could be saying oddball things to your clients. And just make sure you check, and because you could say like, I did this, I cleaned the place and pooped. It was one example. The house is ready to go. I cleaned and pooped. And they're going, "What?" It goes, "No, I meant mopped."
Oh my God. I know you're talking to me because I have sent you some crazy stuff.
No, you have not sent that one to me.
Wow, that's craziness.
Yeah.
Yes.
So be careful on that. And then do you have another one? Because I have one more.
No, you go ahead. Tell us.
Just the horrors of moving. I think we talked about a client of mine who waved bye-bye to his stuff, not knowing exactly there was some commotion about the move itself. They're moving to another market, and all their stuff went with some fly-by-night outfit, and they didn't see their stuff for like a month after they arrived at the place. And they're going, "We don't know. We don't speak the language that these guys were speaking, and they didn't know how to communicate with us." So once again, trust your real estate agent to vet vendors for you, whether it's a painter, roofer, or movers, and let us help you find the right people.
Yes, and right before we go, we got a minute left. Make sure you put a no soliciting sign on your door when you move into a neighborhood. Otherwise, you're going to get all types of people soliciting you, either good vendors or some shysters. So make sure you put a no soliciting sign when you move into your house till you figure things out. You actually call the people that you need instead of having people knock at your door.
Okay.
And I guess that's it.
That was quick, wasn't it? God.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, I just wanted to remind everyone that after our show, we have Resistencia on the Rainier Avenue Radio stream. And the station will be broadcasting King County Executive Debate this Wednesday at 5 p.m. So there you have it for the week.
There you go. Yeah, so have a happy and safe Halloween.
There it is, the election connection debates coming up. All right. Happy Halloween. Be safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
You've been listening
Bye-bye.
to Real Estate and Money with your hosts, Violeta, Strash, and Tina Lombard. For more information, call 206-717-4490. That's 206-717-4490. Go to the Rainier Avenue Radio.world website to find the Real Estate and Money schedule, or tune in to our live show every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3. We will help you find your dream home.